anymore. Thank you, Claude. This is Claude.
Oh, yeah, that's valid. That's a valid question.
Oh man. Let's see what's the icebreaker. Did you get your Lego in?
I did. I got it's coming in today. And the price of them are going up because they're becoming harder and harder to find. So I'm really excited about that. And then I had some award. We use Awardco at work. So like you can award, you get like 100 points a month to award other people.
Handout.
So like, yeah. So I had some award points. And I'm like, I wonder what Legos I can get with my $680 or $68 Wardco points. And so I got the ship that Princess Leia is on from my brain is really fried right now, but from A New Hope. So at the starting of A New Hope, where she hands over the plan to R2-D2. So I got that ship for $68, which I'm like, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's coming in. That's really exciting. And then but I don't get to really open it until next Tuesday because
you're one of those.
yeah.
Oh man. So Henry I don't know if I told you this or not, but he's been eyeing the Star Wars celebration. It's supposed to be in LA next year, and you guys need to be friends.
We do. We use YNAB. Listen,
that's right.
When I lived in California, one of my favorite events that I went to was when they had on, usually it was on May the 4th Be With You, typically at the Hollywood Bowl, which is an outdoor amphitheater, like huge outdoor amphitheater.
Yeah.
They would play one of the Star Wars movies, but the LA Philharmonic would play the soundtrack live to the movie, which was cool. Like, I'm getting a little like my hairs are standing up on my arm because one, I'm such a dork, and two, I love the symphony, which is another weird thing about me.
But just moved to Nashville.
I know. But like people come dressed up, they have lightsabers. Yeah. It's a whole thing, and why do I love Star Wars so much? I'm
trying to think. Weird. Oh, we did one of those, and I can't remember which movie it was now. Whether it was like Home Alone or may have been Home Alone with the symphony. It was really fun.
That'd be another good one, Home Alone.
Yeah. Well, so this is fun, and hopefully it won't pop your bubble too much. When we lived in Chicago, we went and visited the Home Alone house. We went and found it. And it's a lot smaller than you would think it would be. We saw it, we're like, what? Like, it's a big house, but it's not like as big as it feels on the movie.
I think they've remodeled the inside completely from what I saw recently.
Yeah, we Zillow stocked it.
Side note, did you know that you can get the Home Alone house on Lego?
Yes.
All it needs is like a little van to come with it, and the dude with that, Larry and
I think when we went, they were doing some remodeling because they had like a construction fence all the way around it. And who knows how many people are like us that are like, let's go find it. It's Christmas.
Okay, here's a good question. What franchise does Lego need to do that they don't have today?
Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm obsessed. I am beyond obsessed. And once it hits, because is it NBC? Yeah, Peacock. Peacock has the rights to it now, and they're making a live action series on Dungeon Crawler Carl. So you might want to tell your boss's boss that because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I talked to her this morning, and she was like, "Oh, Chris, such a good guy."
She's awesome. She's awesome. But no, I think I'm so into this universe now of what this thing is that I'm like, I need
explain to me like why it's so cool, like why it's so different.
Have you ever so you know what an RPG is, right? You play video games. All right.
We're doing picks and plugs first.
So the listen, I'm getting close and real right now. Okay, it's a lit RPG. All right, so it's literature storytelling with a role playing game. So it's a world building. Like the dude enters the dungeon, and all of a sudden he has a heads up display and things that he can see, and he can see all his stats and different ways to build stats and stuff like that. And the whole point of the book is this dude. The world ends, aliens come, and they turn the world into, you have to enter in this dungeons. They take all of the things of the world, they disintegrate, they go into below the earth, and there's this 18-layer dungeon that people have to go through each level. Almost think about it like levels. But what they do is they make it a TV show for the galaxy, like for the whole universe. It's like this TV show that they broadcast,
Like
right?
Hunger Games.
It almost very similar. It's like this
Okay.
it's a game show, and the whole goal is you want to get higher up in the views so that people will follow you around the universe and stuff like that. But it's there's twofold. One, reading it is great, but the audiobook is a whole experience in itself. I don't know how else to describe it except for it's just not your boring. There's a voice for the cat. This dude enters with his ex-girlfriend's cat. The cat gets a superpower and is able to talk, and it's called Princess Donut, the blah 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 blah, who eventually gets a pet velociraptor and rides it throughout the series. It's fast moving. Like they go fight bosses, do things, they go into like little training guilds, and you're just discovering this world as they're building it. And there's the 8th book in the series is coming out in May.
Oh,
I'm on
it's a
book
long
1.
series.
I'm on book 1.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up right now.
So now look, here's the other thing. I hate reading. I hate it. Like I've always wanted to get into it. Like I tried reading 11/22/63 by Stephen King, which is about a dude who goes back in time and tries to save. There's a series on Netflix about it, and I ended up just watching that because I'm like, this is just, I could not get into it. My ADHD brain. Dungeon Crawler Carl for people with ADHD, it's perfect because it's moving so fast, changing so fast. Not to be listened to around kids, though, I will say.
It's Kindle Unlimited if you have that.
Yes. So anyway, I've never been excited about a book like this. The only one before this that I actually read was the Hunger Games series. And so there's
whole
my
series is Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah. So anyway, it's got me a little stoked lately. And so now I've been on like Etsy looking at all the different 3D prints of things I can get. And I have it on my Kindle and everything. Once I finish book 1, then I'm going to buy the physical book just to say that, I have, because at the end of every book, there's a mini side story that continues on through every book.
Oh, cool.
That you can only get in the physical book.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're just really cool. Like all of them glow in the dark except for book 3, which I'm like, that's really crazy. So anyway,
I will also say the stats on this are impressive. It has 4.7 stars and 67,000 reviews.
Yes.
And then on Goodreads, it's almost 350,000.
Mm-hmm. Matt Dinniman, the author, he's coming to Nashville.
See, another reason for you to come this way.
I know. I have friends who live in Nashville. Eventually, we'll come up and visit. My buddies work at Dave Ramsey Solutions.
Yes.
Which is really funny. Just as a little side note here, he is not a developer, and their move. He's a video editor, right?
Okay.
But he's been challenged to use AI, so he's been using what's the code to video?
Remotion?
He's been using Remotion and React, and then he goes, dude. He goes, man, now that I'm using Claude at work, I took my WordPress site, his own personal portfolio, because he's edited movies and stuff like that. And he's like, it did it for me in like 10 minutes, and I have a React site published. And I'm like, he's like, I'm learning how to do all these things, which I think is so cool. So anyway, I just thought I have a lot of random things to talk about. You guys go. Brad, what about you? What are you doing?
Well, I was going to say, let me go ahead and start because I feel like we're talking about good stuff. I could have segued that.
That was it. That was a good opportunity right there.
There you go.
Let me come in. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Compressed FM, a podcast all about web design and development with a little bit of zest. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about AI, of course, but I mean, what are roles even anymore? They are all kind of blending together. The lines are blurred. We have video producers that are writing code. We have engineers that are designing. What is this?
Web development and design, who would have guessed? Well, we can do them both, even add a little zest. So turn up the volume, get ready for the best. Let's get it started in this episode of Compress.
Hello, my name is Amy Dutton. I am a senior design engineer at Cloudflare.
Hey y'all, my name is Brad Garapi. I'm a senior front-end developer at Cloudflare.
And my name is Chris Nowicki, and I'm a developer experience engineer / product manager at Commerce.
I love it. I didn't even introduce you as a guest. It's done. You just jumped right in. Perfect. It's done. Whether you realized you agreed to it or not, it's done.
The DTR has just been done, people. And anyway.
Oh, amazing. So we've been talking, at least Brad and I have been we were in a real work meeting, which just made me so happy together. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't say much. It was really, I made the connection. And so they said, do you want to come to the meeting? And I was like, yes. So I didn't say much during the meeting, but it was fun. But different things have come up either at work or adjacent, where you have designers that are now coding or vice versa, or you have project managers that are submitting PRs. And so the question is that right? Or is it a good thing? What do you guys think?
I have so much to say on this topic because it's happening a lot at work where they actually are encouraging and wanting like designers and PMs to contribute code. And then engineers have kind of been told for a while now, like, oh, we want you to do more like think more product-y, think about the outcomes. And what's happening here is that as non-engineers are contributing code, they're like causing problems or like really gumming up the review pipeline because they might not understand Git or technicalities or things like that. And it makes a lot of extra work for the engineers. And then I'm sure vice versa. If you let engineers kind of design, now that's how you end up with like a UI that does not look cohesive because everybody's making independent decisions. And so like I had to step back and be like, okay, why are we here? We're here because everybody is getting their work done faster because of AI tooling. Okay, cool. So why is it then that if we can all get our work done faster, now we have to do jobs that aren't ours? How come we all just can't collectively move faster and stay in our own lane, essentially? Like do what you're good at, just move faster.
Yeah.
And that's my takeaway is like, we are wasting so much time on discussion and adding all these guardrails and like basically teaching people to be developers overnight because now I guess supposedly they have all this free time to be like contributing to other people's jobs. Where I'm actually I'm like starting to view this as like a waste of time. Like I'm glad that we can enable everybody, but at the same time, wouldn't it just be more efficient if engineers moved 10x faster, 20x faster, and designers moved 20x faster, and now the business moves 20x faster? I feel like we're just putting the brakes on it by like blending these roles.
That's a good take.
What do y'all think?
I agree with you. I mean, I'm seeing it more and more at even at Commerce, where product managers are diving into code to create kind of a a preview of the feature they're talking about, where it's like, hey, here's what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and code this out. And then here, let me show you this. Right. And I think you're right, Brad. I mean, if each silo can move at the speed, designers figure out how AI can make them work more efficient. The technical writing team can figure out how to write more efficiently and consistently. Engineers are pushing twice as much code, and then GitHub crashes daily because of it. I think, and that will enable a company to move faster. It's when the company starts going, okay, we've gotten rid of all of these extra roles now. We're not going to hire anymore because anyone can be a developer. And unless you're training those, if you're training a designer who might have a little bit of code background, they're not going to have the full extensive knowledge to really review the code that AI writes. And that could cause some friction and cause some things to fail potentially down the road, right? So I don't know. That's my thought.
Let me
I
oh sorry.
I like where you started here because you were talking about like a product manager communicating their vision more
Yeah.
effectively. Doesn't mean they're contributing to the code base necessarily, but they can more effectively communicate what's in their head because they can produce essentially just land like HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript to make a UI work within the context of the app. And it's not production ready. And they just go, this is what I was thinking. Engineer, you take over. I like that idea where like your baselines are a little bit higher fidelity.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of where I was going to push on it. The deliverables have shifted a little bit, which I think has maybe changed the conversation a little bit. Where like I was in a meeting last week where we were talking about a new feature. Actually, you can check it out on the docs. How fun is that? So if you go to the docs on the right side, there's there used to be a drop down at the top that was copy to page or copy page. And what that would do is it would copy the documentations page as a markdown file that then you could paste into your agent. And you used to be able to click on the drop down and even like pick, do I want to send this to Claude? Do I want to send it to ChatGPT? Well, we move that into the sidebar so that it's sticky. It'll stay there. But you can also see the logo. It's a little bit more descriptive in terms of what you're getting. So we were in a meeting talking about, hey, let's maybe change this functionality a little bit, make it a little bit more visible. And so we were working on that. We're going to write the ticket. And the guy that brought it up just vibe coded it during that session. And so by the end, he was like, hey, like I did, is this okay? And we ended up tweaking it a little bit, kind of what you were talking about, Brad, in terms of making it better. And we've also iterated on it because it didn't use the tooltip library that we've already implemented. So it's like, okay, let's do that. And then it was like, wait, we have all these different styles for tooltips now. Let's make sure that everything's consistent. And so going back through and doing that. So I totally see the effects of what you're talking about. But it was really cool to be in that meeting and just be like, instead of just talking about it, here it is. Instead of writing up the JIRA ticket and trying to figure out what all the requirements are, let's actually have something to look at and say, is this better or worse, or what do you think? So I think there's going to be kind of a blurred line there, just as we're trying to figure out the best ways to communicate with each other. But you also have to have that iteration feedback cycle in order to like get rid of the duplicate code, make sure that everything's consistent and on par with the other pieces that we have in the code base.
Yeah.
Side note, can I just say, I love the agent setup page. I think that's brilliant.
That's new as of last week. And it's now one of our most highest performing pages on our documentation site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that's a wonderful idea.
Oh, amazing.
I think,
it's okay.
I think these rough prototypes and like, I guess, slightly simpler, newer websites lend themselves to development from many people around the company like a lot easier. Like this docs thing, for example. I compare that to like our dashboard code or like any big company's dashboard code that's been around for like 10 years. And there's so much business logic. There's different design systems, different data fetching libraries, different layers of extraction. When you get down to that kind of stuff, it makes it a lot harder to keep new contributors, guardrailed in. And I'm starting to think that like, okay, yes, we're working on building all these guardrails. Like how do you eliminate dead code and duplicate stuff and things that don't make sense? And are you using the right abstractions? There's solutions to all that for AI. You've got rules files, agents files, skills, all this kind of stuff. But I'm starting to realize that like this is not just helpful for new contributors, for non-engineers. One day, agents will be doing this work independently. And the more guardrails we can establish now, it will carry over. It will pay dividends into the future. So at first I was like, no, maybe we should just treat these non-engineer contributors like different. But now in my head, I'm saying, no, this works for agents as well, so that
Mhm.
you can trust that output more and let them run on their own.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because I mean, the reality of that is that the people that are submitting those PRs are using agents. So it might not be running autonomously, but it's still an agent that probably got to that result.
Yes, yes. And like the very first kind of guideline that we had is like everybody should be using the same tool set, like the same agent harness and the same agent definition. So like that conductor workflow I kept talking about,
Mhm.
we're really trying to distribute that to as many places as possible so that we can just make sure like everybody's doing things the
Mhm.
same way. And if we're finding problems, we're fixing it for everybody, not just like this one setup.
Yeah.
Because you
I
can
love
definitely
that.
tell the difference between like a vibe coded thing that's using, let's say, Opus
Yeah.
4.6 and a guided workflow
Mm.
versus like like an open source Kimi model or something like that.
Mhm. So, define some of the guardrails. Like we keep talking about guardrails, but what are those things that you actually put into place? Is that just like end-to-end tests and type safety? Like what are some of the things?
So a couple of things that we've really been thinking of. Number one is just like walk through the Git workflow process of like making the branch the right way, making the PR the
Mhm.
right way, committing small chunks, things like that. So just ensuring that your Git hygiene is good. But then you've got things like Fallow, this Rust-based tool that just came out that does like
That's pretty
really
much
fast detection of like dead code, duplicate code, erroneous code, complexity. And you want to use something like Fallow that's written in Rust on large code bases because it's going to be able to parse it as fast as things like Oxlint and Ox format. It's all Rust based. Whereas, excuse me, whereas the JavaScript equivalent called NIP or KNIP, I'm not sure, would run much slower on a large code base.
Mhm.
And then outside of that, I've got this idea to like produce a set of manual testing steps based on the changes that you made. And so like the agent will say, okay, cool, looks like we're done. Like this is exactly what you should do to test your changes yourself. And
Mm,
we'll write automated tests and execute them and all that stuff. But like take some accountability. You should run these workflows.
that's good. So are you guys using Fallow?
Investigating, integrating it now.
Okay. Like I literally, while I was eating lunch, watched on the Syntax channel, Scott Tolinsky just released a video on Fallow.
Yeah, I want to, like, the main point of investigation for me is like, can you run Fallow on a change set? Like, I don't want to like run Fallow on the entire repo every time. I just want it to be restricted to the files modified.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I also like that you brought up a great point talking about the type of work that you're doing, because you are working on the dashboard that has a lot of that business logic and integration with fetching, whereas I'm working on the documentation, which is a more of a presentation piece of it. And some of the guardrails that we're talking about are more from even a content standpoint and making sure that AI isn't changing things that should be considered the source of truth, because those docs fund other pieces and models that we're training internally. So we have to be mindful of how that affects other pieces in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Now, like, content is king, and that has to be, which is so weird. Like, I think about everything we're writing for AI and how it's all just markdown files,
Mhm.
and it makes me nervous because it's very mushy when it
Mhm.
comes to things like dependencies or will they follow what I'm asking. And so
Mhm.
I found that like keeping your skills and keeping your agents and keeping your commands incredibly small and focused and like terse is probably better than just giving like one gigantic barf of a markdown file with like everything you think. And so
Yeah.
we even have this learn phase where like after you've gone through writing all your code and making your changes and making that PR, the agent will stop, think about what it learned in the session, and update any relevant agents.md file in the code base, or identify some that like don't exist and be like, we learned some new patterns here. Let me make a file.
Yeah.
And so it's constantly getting better and smarter over time.
Is that is that automated? Like, do you have a prompt that says before pushing a PR or even after, like, do a stop and learn section, and then you can even push that commit as well with any changes?
Yes. So I have like the way this whole workflow is set up is I have a primary agent that controls like just the flow of the whole session. And then it calls out to sub agents to do different particular
Yeah.
things. And in this case, the learner sub agent happens after the publisher sub agent. So like you make your PR with the publisher, then the learner steps in and like summarizes and identifies changes to make.
I love it. It's so funny. I was just thinking, Brad, because before Christmas, you were like, I'm still just like or human in the loop. Like I'm still in VS Code. And then now it's everything's changed and it's only been 4 months, which is crazy.
Someone asked me the other day, how often, like I kind of stopped using Cursor for the most part, not because I think it's bad or good. It's just I have $1,500 in credits per month I can spend on Claude. So I just, I go YOLO on that. But some people are like, well, you don't look at diffs. And I'm like, sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll run it, but I just like running it. And look, I work on docs primarily. So it's not like I'm engineering these crazy applications, right? So really the diffs I can check in my local preview when I go view the document itself. Or if I'm changing some structure or some styling of the doc site itself. But a lot of people, I think, are moving to the just command line, let it go, preview in the development server, and then just let it go. I think, especially now that the diffs show up as it's writing, you can just watch it go. Sometimes, not all of them. It depends on the large scale of code.
It's not the prettiest diff view.
No,
it works in a pinch for smaller changes, but I'm 3 panes. I've got open code, I've got VS Code for diff viewer, and then the browser for the changes that I'm making. And I'm like, I prompt for everything. I need you to rename this function. Like I prompt it. Like I do not type code anymore. And I kind of did that on principle in 2026, just to be like, if we're doing this, then I'm going to make sure my agent workflow is the best. And the only way I can do that is to use it for literally everything. I'm sure my bill's high, but like it's really helped me to like craft this workflow where I can take my hands off and like kind of let it run and just interject. Not even typing with my voice now, right? So I can just interject.
How many agents are you running at one time?
Still just one.
Okay.
I basically am in this pattern where I'm like, I refuse to deal with work trees locally until we get agents in the cloud, which our internal solution is coming soon.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But it's all built on Cloudflare's agents, SDKs, and artifacts, and all like the stuff that we release that just make this really possible.
I sometimes have 3 going at the same time because I have 3 separate doc repositories for each one of our product lines. They're not all shared in one space. And so if I'm just looking at my tickets across all, and these are not tickets to write docs, these are tickets to work on the infrastructure of the docs themselves. And so if I know that I have to apply to all 3, what I'll do is I'll have one going, and then once I know the fix, I'll have it spit out a little prompt that I can give into the other repos that goes in there and it does it. Or I just have it afterwards, hey, go do this in these 2 repos and push a PR for me. So I try to have 3 going, but yeah, I think just managing one enough. I know there's a lot of people building tools out there to monitor all the things your agents are doing, and I'm sure they'll get better over time. But yeah, I think the idea of running one at a time is the safer option.
I'm still trying to figure out the perfect workflow there. Like I know Aaron Francis is the mastermind behind Solo, and he's a big proponent of have 3 projects, kind of what you're saying. Have 3 projects going at once, because then you can kind of keep, it's easier to manage and see like what thing is working on each section, and you're not trying to override each other. But in some ways, I don't know, that almost feels like more context that I've got to hold in my head, whereas I'm just trying to work on a single project and just pointing it at different places within the application. So I haven't quite gotten there yet to a workflow that I'm super happy with. But it's been interesting to see how all these tools and the different features that people are trying to pull in.
I will say, like, a time for you to type in a command and then wait for the result to come back is just long enough for me to like completely spiral and get distracted. It's really bad. Like, I don't know. Unless I'm like literally just staring at the output, reading it, or I'm like in something really hairy that I'm like making sure it's making the right choices. I'm off on Twitter every time, and it's not good.
Well, and I think that's like what people are talking about with burnout. It's like trying to stay focused in that is hard. It's a different type of thinking.
It is. It's a whole different type of thinking. I've tried to utilize that time while I'm waiting for it to chug out a thing to look at my linear tickets, refine any tickets that I have, like plan what I'm going to work on next and kind of keep an eye on what's going on over there. But like Brad said, especially since I have the lovely ADHD, my brain goes, ooh, let's see what's going on Twitter. And then you go down a rabbit hole, and then you click on a link, and then you're like, oh, I forgot to check on my agent. And then you go over there and you do your thing.
This is exactly why I built the Open Code Notifier plugin. And I've been working in a project that doesn't have it. So basically every time your session goes idle, it would ding, and show you like a Mac OS notification. And now that I've been working in this new package registry project that I'm building, and I don't have that all set up, I just lose it sometimes. And it's so good when it's like ding, and you like immediately stop what you're doing and zone back in. But I just installed the Super Whisper plugin.
Yeah. Have you used it
Super
yet?
Whisper. No, I just got it installed like right before we started. And it uses the exact same thing. It's an open code plugin, listens to the same session idle event, but instead it pops up this Super Whisper window, like right on the screen, and it shows you the output from the LLM in that session. And then you just immediately, like, it's recording, so you just talk right back into it. So like the minute it's ready, you're just voice prompting back. I think it's exactly what I would have done anyways. It's perfect.
You're gonna get Chris off of Whisperflow.
Here's what I've tried both. I've used both. Tried them like I had one week, one the other week, and I went back and forth. What I love about Whisperflow is I can just talk, and where I correct myself, it does a phenomenal job at correcting myself, and I correct myself often. Super Whisper, it's great because it's free, it's local, you could be on a plane, and I think there's use cases for that as well. So I will always have Super Whisper on my machine for those instances. How often on a plane? Never right now. But one day I'm going to be on a plane and have to do something, and I want the person next to me to hear me talking to my computer.
Obviously.
But that's the only thing I can't get around is that little bit of how it just the nuance of how it fixes and structures the return. But Super Whisper is free and local.
I will say I like Whisperflow better. It's way more accurate. It's faster to pick up like your push to talk button, and you can just set it to where like it presses enter automatically when you're done.
Yeah,
and that's incredible. So it's just like submits itself.
Okay, Brad,
to me.
you're gonna love this. So I have not been using Whisperflow as often because sometimes I'll like pause and think about what I'm gonna say. So it takes me a while to get it out, and it messes up my words per minute. And I'm trying to beat you. So I know that if I talk, I'm gonna just think about it. So I'm like, I'll just type it out while I think, so it doesn't mess up my stats. So it's actually kind of working against me right now.
Here's where I think
true, like as you type, you can formulate your thought as you're going. Whereas sometimes you turn on the mic and you're just like,
yeah, exactly. And I was like starting and stopping because I was like, I've got to beat Brad.
But that's where Whisperflow shines, because you can stop and go, no, this is what I want to say here.
But it slows down your stats.
My words per minute. So I'll just take my finger off the button, push to talk, wait a minute, gather my thoughts, and then hit it again. But it's all Brad's fault that I'm not doing it more now.
The talk to flow stuff, I think, needs to get, or the talk to text stuff, I think, is getting way better. But I'm really excited to see the improvements that come in the next iOS for that stuff. Like Whisperflow, I use it on my iPhone, but it's still kind of clunky to get it, to get to it open. And
who did they contract with? Google to do this, and I'm like kind of rolled my eyes, and I'm like, that's not who I would have picked. I would have picked one of these hot AI startups, but at least Google's stable. But
I'm
it'll be interesting.
Think what podcast I was listening to. It may have been a news podcast talking about Tim Cook stepping down,
Mhm.
the new guy coming in.
Wild.
I did not realize that a huge chunk of their revenue, because that's what they were saying, like Tim Cook did. They were like, really, the biggest advancement that he probably made since Steve Jobs left was the M chips and getting Apple over to their own chip system.
Mhm.
But aside from that, he's just like a master negotiator and great at like manufacturing and figuring out all these deals. So the point that they made, though, is like a fifth of their revenue comes from Google and being able to contract with them so that when you open your browser, it defaults to Google, which blows my mind. So I'm sure part of this with the AI infrastructure and all that has to do with deals like that.
Mhm.
And then just for reference, the other interesting thing was they said maybe the second fifth comes from their app store and the applications that people make and being able to take a cut off of it. But that surprised me just because those aren't, in my mind, core to their business model, but it is a substantial piece of their revenue.
Mm.
Yeah, but think about it. The hardware business has thin margins, so software is basically pure profit. And then
Mhm.
I've always long since heard that Google paid out the butt to be the default search engine everywhere,
Yeah.
even if it's not the default browser. And I guess that just proves it, man. A
Yeah.
fifth. That's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think it may have been the New York Times. I'll go see if I can find the link to the episode and include it in the show notes. Yeah, but it was interesting. So let's talk about this. What's crazy right now, since we're kind of talking a little bit about money, is just AI costs and where it's going. And it seems like in some ways, and I know technology is like a rubber band, right? It expands and contracts. And I feel like right now we're on this contracting piece where things like GitHub is failing all the time, or people are like, we don't like Anthropic anymore. What are they doing with these things? Or I saw a tweet this morning that said Codex is imploding. It's just like, what is happening with the world? But it all, oh, go ahead. I was like, I can keep going.
No. Keep going.
It the other side of it is that, again, another tweet I saw was they were saying like you're gonna start to see the VC money go away. You're gonna start to see the VC money go away with credits. And so what happens with that when you have to make sure that the money's coming in somehow to pay for these things. You're on compute. And you start to see people pulling back on subscriptions, and it's going to have to be the pay as you go. Like at this point, is it really cheaper to have AI run all of this stuff?
Mm.
Yes, it might be less time, but is it really like a one for one? Like I can get more from the AI agent than I could if I had a person in the seat. I don't know. These are kind of interesting questions.
I keep thinking though that it's like technology gets faster, year over year. I think, okay, yes, it's going to get more expensive for a little bit, but then I think we're going to find ways to optimize token usage.
Mhm.
LLMs are going to get smarter, so there's just going to be like less round trips for things.
We have the local
like
models too, right? So then
local
that really,
models, hopefully those get better.
yeah.
Like we will get to a point where the tools at our disposal are faster and more effective. But yeah, it is crazy to see how all in we're going right now. Like I said, I won't make a typo change without AI at this point because I don't have a spending cap. I hope that never changes. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, like you can sit in the driver's seat, but don't, and you don't have to steer, but like you still have to do the brake and the gas. Like you can't figure out where that boundary is.
Mhm.
I would rather just be like fully enabled or not, I guess, because like I think of like pre-December where I was just kind of using Copilot to like ask some questions and like stuff like that. It wasn't that useful. It saved me a Google search, but like that's kind of what it
Mhm.
felt like. I don't know.
Well, I mean, at that point, it was kind of a fancy autocomplete. And that's kind
Right.
of why, at least I leaned into Cursor, is because it had the best tab completion. But then I'm sure you guys heard the rumors. They came back from Christmas and said we have to have an all hands because the future of development is not an IDE. It's like an agent workflow. What does that look like? So it's just, again, crazy to me. And to see, did you guys see that news where Elon and SpaceX can have the option to buy out Cursor for like $60 billion. Which-
I don't
Oh,
understand
goodness.
why that fits. I'm not sure. Like, is there reasoning behind that I'm
SpaceX?
missing?
I was gonna say with Grok, it's the everything company, right? So why not have Cursor?
Yeah. Whatever.
That's
Oh,
I didn't hear about that. That's crazy.
mhm.
Can we go on a small tangent and talk about how strongly I'm considering getting a Tesla if and
Are you-
when my truck ever dies? Yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm there too. I'm there too. As soon as I can afford one. Yep.
I love tech and like put tech in my car. Heck yeah, but it's hard to give up like big cowboy truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's why they call you the cowboy coder.
That's right.
They did some kind of environment thing at school, like probably 5 or 6 years ago. And my son came home and was like, "We have to get a Tesla." It's like, it's better for the environment. I was like, what are they telling you? It's like, I'm not getting a Tesla. So I think some of it is at least for me right now, I would rather not fund Elon. I think Henry would gladly get a Tesla and get on board there. But also, we've just always had pre-owned cars. So that would.
Yeah. And I like to get them new, but then I like to keep them forever. You know,
Yeah,
my truck's
do,
going on like
yeah.
12 years now and it's like solid as a rock. So that's my
I'm not-
plan is to keep
What?
it.
I'm not crying. I have
Whose
something.
motto is that? Sure, Chris. But whose motto is that? That is a truck thing, like rock solid, solid as
Keep
a
it
rock.
forever. Yeah. That was that was Ford. Solid as a yeah.
That was Ford. Yeah.
I will say this in terms of cars, we can get back on normal tech. The last car that Henry got, we got at the pre-owned, the used car lot, but it was a brand new car. It had 6 miles on it, which is incredible. But basically, they were just trying to get a deal where they had to sell so many cars in the month, and so they just sold it to the used car dealership. So the nice thing for us was it took some off the top, even though it's like brand new. But he has a hybrid, and that has been incredible, especially with all the crazy gas prices right now. And I'm like, okay, this is why you would want a little bit more tech, something fancy. Okay.
Back to
Totally
regular schedule programming.
Sorry, everybody. Okay, so I know the story. I'm looking at the agenda. I know the story behind the missing standardization in the IA space right now. But Brad, you want to talk about some of the stuff you've been working on?
Okay. I mean, you all feel it, right? Everything is just YOLO Wild West right now. People
Oh,
are
yeah.
still figuring it out. And I love it because it's exciting. But like anytime you try to drive alignment, it's just so hard. Like, how in the industry do we align on these things? And I just saw a new standard from Vercel.
What?
Open. Okay, here it is. Openplugins.com. First time I heard about that was this morning. So Open Plugins is using the agent specification for skills. But it also like basically wraps everything up. Agents, skills, they call them hooks, rules, MCP servers, language servers, all together, and they call it a plugin. And so your plugin can deliver like many of these things or one of these things. And you are essentially like publishing this to NPM or something. I can't decide if I like it or not. It seems a little heavy-handed
Huh.
or like what could be just a single markdown file.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it kind of works really well because if like, let's say you're a big company like Cloudflare and you want to deliver like
Yeah.
some skills, some slash commands, an MCP server, an LSP for let's say your Wrangler JSON,
Package
like
up into
all
one
these
thing.
things together, boom, here it is.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might make a lot of sense. So it is the Wild West, and it's really hard to figure out. Like I'm YOLO building my own agent package registry and package manager for kind of like parts of the company, and I don't know what to standardize on. And I'm at the point where I'm like, what if I made up my own and like published a little website and like made Zod schemas and made a linter and then
Yeah.
people could adhere to it. And it's all about like how far you want to go. But I feel like somebody just needs a website to point to with a company logo on it that people trust to just say, we thought about this. This is it. Problem is like too many people are thinking about it from too many different avenues. And I
You have a
think
lot of companies that are trustable right now that are all pushing AI standards, and you're absolutely right. Like, what do you standardize on? Some people are saying MCP is going to go away in a year, and it's not even going to be a thing. What is it going to turn into? And then I see it eventually growing to someone at some point in time, or maybe it's that big cohort that I forgot what AI company like pulled a bunch of people together that they're going to come in and go, okay, this is how we're going to standardize it. Because I mean, how Claude works versus, like we have to use things like rule sync and stuff like that to make sure you can get the rules into the right places for the right tools without having to recreate them every single time. And that's a friction point. And Brad, what you're talking about is a friction point. You're building your whole internal agentic package that is built on what you think is going to work well for your internal teams. And then in 6 months, we might come out with something that is a version of that, but better. And you might adopt that, then that thing might die. And then another company is going to come out with an even better version. And then it's just this constant change fatigue where I think, does it work well now? Sure. Wait till things level out a little bit. There will be some sort of a standard. And then we move forward and grow. It's going to feel like one of those like charts that goes up, down, then up a little bit more, down, and then up a little bit more. And
it's just hard because the needs are so clear right now, right? Like we need a better way to share skills and stuff. And skills.sh, yes, it exists, but it's only for skills. Like there's other stuff in the world we need to share. And so how do we do that effectively right now while keeping in mind these specs and how they might evolve and planning for the future? And like you said, the minute like something changes and somebody else builds that tool on top of the new spec, they just took all the market share, right? Or the, people care about that one. And we're even seeing that internally. A bunch of different teams are kind of building the same thing, also for very different audiences, some technical, some non-technical, which really throws a wrench into this. In the past, every time we've built a developer tool, it was for developers. And now we have to cater to everybody. And that's a real challenge, How do you get somebody to npm install something when they don't know what a terminal is? And MCP is the answer to that. My package manager basically just installs itself as an MCP, and you can just say install this skill, and it will just search it, find it, install it, done. But I think that will be the delivery mechanism going forward. Talking about making everything, LLM centric, people will just talk to it, and it'll do what you ask.
So where do you guys stand on the whole, this is related kind of, on like the dashboard thing? Because that would be another situation where it's like, just talk to it. Just get what you want. Just talk to it. But part of me and maybe this is an old lady brain, can't wrap my head around that, because there's certain things that I want to see every time. And it's like, I guess you could save the dashboard for the view that I want. I don't know. It just seems like token kill in some cases, or like that's part of the UI UX experience is like,
I think
I don't know what the answer is.
Generative UI definitely has a place.
I guess. Yeah.
But the problem is no company is going to leave their user experience completely up to an LLM. I think that's foolish. Companies want to control how you feel and where you look as you use their product. And if you rely on generative UI, I think it's letting go too much.
Well, and that also raises a good use case where it's like, it's one thing for me to generate the dashboard that I want, but like ask my mom to do that. She'd have no idea. There's nothing against her. That's just not how she thinks.
Yep. Granted, she could just be like, I don't know, show me my show me the weather over the next
Show me
7
my
days,
grandkids.
and it'll do that, right? I don't know. Yeah, like
Just show me pictures of my grandkids. She'd be happy.
I can't wait until this gets more integrated with like whatever. Websites are like one thing. I want an AI first OS. That's gonna be sick.
Mhm.
That's just I think gonna blow my mind with what it can do because I haven't thought about all of those types of use cases, but like just eliminating all the friction and just being able to talk at your computer would be
Oh my
really
gosh, without having to go to the, if you're on Windows, like find the buried setting in the control panel that doesn't really exist, but kind of exists if you type in the right thing in the terminal to pull it up and then, or
like
just the
Raycast with your
ferocious-
voice.
Oh my gosh, or the ferocious Apple settings.
Yeah. They're rough.
Are you guys Star Trek fans?
Yes.
The Brad's like, man.
Star Wars. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Well, so there's I don't even know what year that movie came out. It's an old one where they go time travel and they go to San Francisco and they sit down at a computer and he starts to talk and to the computer and nothing happens. And so then he hands him a mouse and he's like, "Oh, how quaint." Starts trying to talk into the mouse and that doesn't do anything. So then he starts typing. But like that's what I think of. How quaint when you're talking about. I just want to talk into it. Oh, so funny.
Yeah, I think we're gonna turn into it's like it'll be Jarvis eventually. Hey Jarvis, do this, But and I know some people have created that with, OpenClaw and all those other things. But I think it was interesting, what we were talking about with the cost models changing. Subsidies are probably going to be going away. A lot of the models are switching to, even my enterprise account went from just usage to an actual dollar amount that I have a limit on. So they're doing it based on usage now. And I think it was in our Discord channel or somewhere else. I think someone mentioned it might be a good thing because it might drive to some of the local models and for us to start exploring some of the more local, not necessarily, I mean, cheaper, yes, because you don't have to pay for it, but something that, for a personal project, I tried installing Gemma, and playing around with that a little bit, and I installed the wrong one. So the fan and the RAM usage went up, and I'm like, okay, got to turn you off. But I think it's going to be interesting to see where the different changes in subsidies versus where it drives tech in certain areas of how the local models are going to improve. Or things like using Cloudflare's AI gateway to be able to really pay one place and choose a whole laundry list of models rather than going all in on one specific one. Like, I don't know. I'll keep Claude Pro, but Claude Pro, I've been hitting rate limits on my personal account, and it's very frustrating when I'm trying to build a little app, and I'm like, I'm even using Sonnet, and I'm hitting rate limits, and so I'm going, oh, okay, got to wait till 6 p.m. before I can do my next thing, or I go in and do it by hand, but wants to do that anymore. But you get what I'm saying, though. It's like where are these changes going to drive the future of other tech that is available for people who can't afford the increasing costs?
Yeah. Where I feel it the most is on Claude Design because that has a weekly limit, not a daily limit, and you just have to wait an entire week before I can run more screens.
Oh, really? I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it at all, so I didn't realize it was a weekly.
Yeah, it's now granted it's calculated separately than everything else, but the first time I ran it, I got one screen, and I didn't even tweak it very much. And I blew my limit and I was like, okay, I've got to wait. And I think enough people complained online that it was like, we can't do anything with this. Like we can, like I can design faster than that at that point if I've got to wait a whole week.
Yeah.
And so then they reset it. And so I got a little bit more done. I guess that was Friday night. And then it reset like it normally would have Saturday. But I'm still waiting. I'm waiting now in a whole nother week before I can get back in and do more things. I can design a little bit more. It's been interesting what it will give you. So when I used it, what I need to do is try and use it more like you would a programming task where you're going to iterate on something, because I've just jumped into high fidelity. I think I get a better result if I focus on their tool and then had it apply styling on top of that. But you can have it do wireframes, high fidelity, like a branding guide or design system, and slides. I don't know if I said slides, but it also do like a slide deck for you. And I had it generate like a branding thing for me for just a side project. And it was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. But I was able to take that and then plug it into Figma and refine it and get it to something that I was happy with. And I think that that process was a lot shorter than me just coming up with something by myself. And so I think that that's going to be where the value is if it'll allow you to experiment or give you an idea faster to then be able to move it. I just wish that there was better integration between all the tools. So right now I had to use like a HTML to Figma plugin in order to get it back into Figma to be able to edit. So there's, just still tweaking and refinement. We're all trying to figure this out together. I feel like that's the theme.
Yep. I think that is the theme.
Well, I know we're getting close on time. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to say before we jump into the final segment?
Do you want to talk about side projects, or you want to punt on that?
What do you want to do? I can go either way.
Actually, I don't have an active side project right now.
You have a work.
I have a wish list. Yeah, I have a work side project.
Yeah, I'll talk about a few of mine. I'll try and keep it limited. So I know people keep talking right now about the SaaS apocalypse, and that's kind of what I feel right now. Some of it is just the fact that we're coming out of April and I had to do my bookkeeping and submit taxes. So I start to look at all the money that I'm spending. And in the past, it's been one of those things of, I could build that app, but why build it when like I'd have to do the maintenance, all the time that it takes to build it. I'll keep paying for this company to give me that. And now that cost has dropped tremendously in terms of time, in terms of building it, I'm fine with vibe coding it as long as it meets my needs. I can surface the information that I really care about instead of paying for 100 other features that I don't care about. Like what are the apps that I can do to eliminate expenses? And I ran the numbers. It is pretty crazy how much money I could save if I actually built out the entire suite of stuff that I wanted to do. And it's also interesting because in the past, it's been an idea of like, oh, I'll do this and I can sell it. I'll do this and I can sell it. And then right now, that's not even the primary goal. Like I am the primary user. If I can just use it and decrease my expenses, then we're happy. Like I'm golden. If somebody else wants to use it, that's great, but that's not the primary objective here. So there's a couple that I've been trying to figure out. So one is, and it's so funny, I feel like several people in our group are trying to actually, both of you are trying to figure out the same problem from a different angle. But I want to get rid of QuickBooks is one of them. And so I have an app called Ledger where I'm like, let me just pull in all the things that I want from that. QuickBooks just created a bunch of extra features with AI that I'm like, I don't want that. I just want you to help crunch the numbers for me. Or even when I was doing my bookkeeping, there were certain things that were off from a UI perspective. And I just want to tell them, like, you are a financial company. The fact that this is broken or it looks bad does not instill confidence in what you're creating. So I want to be able to create my own version that I'm like, I know this is solid. It gives me the information I need, and then I can get rid of that expense.
It's kind of ridiculous how expensive. I mean, I manage my wife's business finances for her.
Yeah.
And QuickBooks. And here's what I use. I use the Ledger, Reconcile, and the profit and loss report. Those three, that is the only thing that I use.
Yes. I don't even use how terrible is this? I don't use the profit and loss. Henry checks that when he's like filing our taxes. I'm just like expenses, like going through and adding all that and reconciliation. That's all I'm checking. And it's so crazy. All the features and the apps that they have down the sidebar. I'm like, I don't need any of this. So
I don't need a payroll. I don't need to 1099 people.
Time tracking. Now I did the app that I'm doing. I did roll that in because I'm like, I'm paying for another app called Harvest. And I paid for that for years, but I'm like, why not just roll that in? Have this do everything that I need. I'm the only one that needs it. It can look however I want. I don't have to think about like industry best practices because I'm the target. So the other one that I'm working on is I know email is hard. But trying to figure out a ConvertKit replacement, because that is by far the most expensive thing that I pay for every month. And Cloudflare just announced their Cloudflare sending. It's no longer in beta. I'm like, I just want a place to have my list, have that available if I want to send anything out, but not feeling the pressure of I have this monthly expense of whether I actually send out emails or not. Like that hurts every single
It does, because then when you get that bill and you're like, I did not use this at all this month,
I didn't use
and I am paying a stupid amount of money.
Exactly. Just for the crud operations right now. You're not even sending anything.
Mhm.
A database. Not even crud, just a database. So, Chris, I know you're working on finance.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So I've just been trying to figure out, like, there's a lot of things I do manually, right? So I have a budget spreadsheet and numbers that I update for the variables that change, like my electric bill changes every month, my wife's income changes every month, all that stuff. And then I take what's there and then I populate all the fields in YNAB. YNAB is my go-to. I've been using it since 2011, I think, when it was a desktop.
You have us.
desktop app. I mean, I've been using it for a very long time.
Well, we were 12.
Yeah. Well, wait, 12?
No, 2012, not 12 years old.
2012.
I just-
That would have been
I
impressive.
saw that misunderstanding from a mile away. That's
Like, wait. But so what I wanted to do was, I've been doing a lot of chatting with Claude on my finances. I did a dump of everything, and it looked at our variable income over an entire year, where we go over and under. And it gave me this tiered approach to absolutely fund these things. And when the income is a little bit higher, like if my wife's business does better one month versus another, then I can fund these other areas heavily so that they cover the rest of the times that it's low.
That's
So
cool.
I'm like, that's kind of cool, right? That Claude kind of gave all that out. And I'm like, what if I could have one app for me? I'm not making this public. This is a for me app, like you were talking right now, running locally, where it's not going to import transactions, but I can do that type of planning and then hit a button and it goes into YNAB and it fills all those out. And then at the end of the month, I import everything from YNAB and it does the whole like report for that month of here's where you were, here's what you planned, here's what you did wrong. And then I want to build in a chat with it where I can chat with my finances. Maybe eventually turn that into an MCP server, but I want to chat with it.
Generative UI, create charts.
Yes. So, but the fact that there's an API for YNAB that it's limited to some extent, right? So there's certain things I may have to export the CSV myself and then drop it in and whatever. That's not the end of the world. But just a little companion app to make that part of the process smoother and quicker, where I don't have to think as much. It just does everything for me. And then I populate it based on variables that are changing. So, and then eventually, I know, Brad, you talked about this in one of our chats. I would love to be able to see over time my, track my 401k, all that sort of stuff, and be able to pull in those reports and kind of see and do some predictions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do not have the patience for actual budgeting. I know what goes out, I know what comes in, and I know what to do with my extra. And then all I do is track basically my retirement accounts. And my major concern is like, am I going to hit my retirement goals? Or what is, what is my life going to look like at 60 or 65? And I can go, oh crap, that's not good enough. Or, oh, I'm fine. And then adjust from there. But like, what they always say, like, don't try to like micro optimize the money you make. Just go find ways to make more money. It's like, that's how you move the needle. But that's kind of what I'm looking at is like,
are you still tracking your funds from the financial planner versus the stock market?
No, I stopped doing that because absolutely it was clear that the financial planner was winning.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they weren't like they were tracking 1-to-1 basically in the good times, and they were padding me in the bad times. So anytime stock market dips, my financial investment account like did much better than like, let's say, the S&P or VOO or whatever.
Nice. We have a meeting scheduled for May. Or I think we do. Usually that's when we meet. So we'll see how we're doing.
Yeah. I wish I could find a way to, and maybe Plaid is the answer to this. I don't know. But like automatically pull my balances from everywhere. I don't use.
Plaid.
It's cool that YNAB like gives you an API, but I guess you still have to like
No.
YNAB hooks up
YNAB.
your
YNAB
other
still
banks.
uses. I think it's Plaid or it's another one. We'll
Yeah.
have to look what they use. But they still have to use a third-party provider to import all of your transactions and balances and stuff like that.
But then you're telling me that YNAB offers like a single authenticated API for you to pull your balances out of YNAB?
Correct. So I can pull balances out of YNAB, my categories, my
Yeah, that's
payees.
nice.
I can update a category in my plan. Plans are by month, so I can say, hey, I'm planning for the next month, and it'll update that next month based on what's readily available. So it kind of helps you in that sense, and you can get an insight into where your balances are. Like there's a lot of third-party apps in the menu bar of Mac and stuff like that where you can like if you go to their API account, there's a list there that says works with YNAB, and all these people have published something that works with YNAB. So, but I'm trying to figure out just how to use what they have. It would be cool if you could pull in your transactions. So you can pull in your transactions from YNAB. So technically I could use, I pay for YNAB. So YNAB can take care of pulling everything in. And then I just connect to YNAB to pull all my transactions and totals into my finance dashboard if I wanted to.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
nice.
Plaid was enterprise, and then I was talking to another developer that was like, look at this dashboard I made. I'm using Plaid to pull all my balances in. And I was like, oh, I know I used it from a consumer standpoint, but I didn't know that that was readily available for developers, that I could just pull in my stuff.
Yeah.
And I think pricing, it looks like you should be able to just use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be sick. That way, like I can get all my balances from my basically 2 different financial institutions. And that's all I care about. All I care about is the balance. I don't need like anything else. Like I said, because I don't budget, I don't need the transactions. I just need the like a snapshot once a week.
I make so much money, it doesn't even matter. Just
YOLO. I just try not to spend it.
That's so funny. Well, amazing. Let's go ahead. Let's still do pick some plugs. I know we're over. But let's jump into the next segment of the show where we do pick some plugs, where we pick something that we like and we plug something generally that we've worked on. I will go first. So I'm going to plug a movie called Sketch. My kids watched it, it was fine for Isaac. He's 11. My girls are 8 and 10. I think it was a little scary towards the end. But this movie came out, I think maybe about a year ago. And I'll see if I can find a link. It's right. It says 2024 because that's when it was at the Sundance Festival. But I think it was in theaters. But the reason that I am picking it is because the director, I grew up with him and I used to work with him. One of the first companies, that I was at. So this is like cool for me just because it's, dream for him come true. But what's crazy, and I'm sure if you live out in California, this is like normal because you're like, oh yeah, my friend. The strange part was I was watching it and I was like, oh, there's Micah. Oh, there's Mitch. Oh, there's Darren. Like I knew all these people that had these cameo appearances in the movie. So, awesome. But anyways, just enjoyed watching it. It's a good story. Basically, this little girl has drawn like these monsters in her sketchbook. The sketchbook falls into a lake and then the monsters come alive. So kind of towards the end, it gets a little scary with some of the monsters that do come alive, but it's a really good story. It's really well done. So anyways, just kind of cool to have those personal connections there. And then I'm going to pick, this is going to sound a little hokey because Cloudflare does not pay us to say this, but go check out some of the stuff that Cloudflare announced. We had Agents Week a couple weeks ago and then announced some really cool products that I'm excited about. We have Artifacts that's in beta, but it lets you basically have Git in a worker and pull the code there. You have Browser Run, which lets you do screenshots and screen capture of things that are happening in the browser. So I mean, I could keep going on and on, but go check out the stuff that we just announced because it's pretty cool. All the things that it unlocks for everybody. So, Brad, do you have any picks and plugs?
I'm still playing that Pokemon Pokopia game, which feels weird to say at like 38 years old, but I don't know. It's been like a really good chill out type game after I've been like working so hard on all this hack month stuff. I'll drop the link to it, but it's on Nintendo Switch. It's pretty good. It's kind of like Minecraft meets Animal Crossing is the explanation I like to give. And your whole goal is to like attract Pokemon and then like rebuild these little towns.
Did you ever check out Split Fiction? That
I
want to
started playing it with my buddy.
did. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Good. Like just like It Takes Two. Very like co-op focused. Much better graphics, tighter controls, you know. But it feels exactly the same.
Sweet.
And I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Your plug?
You know, I'll double down on the Cloudflare infrastructure. I built this whole package manager thing at work on our own infrastructure, and it just is so much better to work with now. From everything to like, from like environment variables to workers preview builds to like D1 and your data explorer, and Rizzle actually works really well with D1 now. I'm very impressed at how easy it is to get apps up and running in like a real production scalable type way. And that isn't even touching on any of the cool agent stuff we released.
Yeah. Well, and even some of the older stuff like Access is so easy to put all of your stuff behind authentication with a login. It's so simple and it's just included. So
yes. Yeah. Granted, there is a lot of like hard parts about Access for like corporate stuff if you get all into that. But like, yeah, really, it's nice. Just gives you a nice little JWT and easy to use.
Yep. Chris?
All right. So a plug is not the pick, the plug. Well, I'm gonna do a movie too. Okay. I'm
kind
gonna
of both
plug
the
the pick.
same.
All right. For my failed to post a compressive, I'll send it to you in a link. But it's the movie Rental Family with Brendan Fraser. I don't know if y'all have seen that yet. It is hilarious and adorable all at the same time. So basically the premise is he's an actor in I think Japan, and he's having a hard time getting a gig, gets hired to be an actor for people hire him to be like, you're going to be this person's dad and you need to act like their dad, or they hire people to apologize for someone or weird things like that. And so he gets kind of involved in these certain into these certain people's lives that he's an actor for in their families, and then he grows close to them, and a lot of really cool, it's really adorable. We watched it last night with my in-laws, and it was wonderful. So and then for my plug pick you know, I'm gonna go with what is the tool that I sent you all? So there's a tool where you can I have a Sony a6600 camera right here, and there is a tool. I forgot what is the name of it. Hold on. It is called no, I did it in the general channel. Hold on.
That's what I was looking through.
There it is. No, I have no idea where it is. Camera Deck. Cameradeck.com. Okay. Cameradeck.com. So basically you install it on your computer connects to your camera via Bluetooth, and then with your Stream Deck you can control zoom in, zoom out. You can control the FPS if like you start to see some flickering, you need to adjust the the shutter speed and all that stuff. I think that's pretty cool. And rather than having to get up here and get behind my camera and press all the buttons and hopefully not press the wrong thing. So there's my plick.
Love it.
My plick.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat and following along. And if you are watching in your podcatcher of choice, please leave a rating and review. It helps us get great guests. And we have a couple coming up that I'm excited about. So for now, that's all we got. I'm gonna end the stream.